It's October, which means that it's Halloween, basically. So I'm doing my first Halloween makeup tutorial for you. I'm going to be recreating this look. Well, sort of recreating. I'm using it as inspiration. This is from Lucas B. David. He's such an iconic like illustrator. He has such an amazing style. So I'm starting off with my new favorite primer combo, these two from Smashbox, which have just kind of like, I've fallen in love with them because they're very hydrating and also very smoothing, which is helpful for Halloween. It's helpful for every day, but to be completely honest with you, Halloween makeup, especially if you're going for like an illustrated style, it doesn't have to be perfect, so don't feel pressured. And then I'm only really using this Euphoria foundation because it's super light, like super duper light. They sent me a couple shades and this one was just really light. And I wanted, obviously, I'm going for kind of like a goth style. Yeah, I'll link it down below. The foundation is actually really nice though, like very like full coverage, but it doesn't feel heavy at all. So I was actually pleasantly surprised. And then same thing. I'm using this Tower 28 concealer because I have really been liking the formula and it's very, very light. So I'm kind of laying in all of my like highlights based on the image that I was using for reference. I took some liberties, but I wanted to use kind of like the general, I don't know, the general style, the general highlights, the general placement of like shadows and stuff, the general vibe as my guide, essentially. So it's not like completely dissimilar from, you know, a regular full face of makeup. You can see like a lot of the highlighting areas are very similar to how I do my makeup, with some exceptions. This is actually a really great, it's a really great experiment for someone if you, like, often doing these kind of more artistic makeup looks, using something as a reference, like a drawing or a painting or whatever, it usually helps me inform the way that I want to do my makeup on the daily. Not necessarily this part, but you know what I mean? This is the one of the NYX Wonder Sticks. They have like dual-ended blushes, which it was my first time using it, but this color was kind of perfect for it. And the illustration isn't quite this, it's not really red, but I kind of wanted to like go in and go into the red. So I'm using this stick to just intensify my dark circles. That's one of my favorite things about Halloween. You'll notice I didn't put any of the concealer directly underneath my eyes, so I can kind of like use them to my advantage. So I'm just kind of building that up with that. Yeah, that's it. You know, reverse. I was gonna say reverse panda eyes. It's not really reverse panda eyes. It's just kind of red panda eyes. So it doesn't really make any sense. But yeah, so if you're a dark circle girl like me, girl, use them to your advantage on Halloween. Just build on top of that shit, you know? Blah, 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 building up. You can see I'm going back and forth. And then like, it was at that moment where I was looking at the reference and I was like, oh, there isn't like really any red in it. Fuck it. I'm just gonna put this like on my cheeks as well. So oftentimes when I'm using a color, for these kinds of like artistic looks, I like to have at least a few other areas where that color is being used throughout my face or throughout the look overall, because it just kind of helps it to look a little more, I'm trying to think of a word that isn't cohesive because I always use the word cohesive, but the word is cohesive. So, so I'm going to be using this powder from Huda Beauty. This is the Sugar Cookie powder. This is so expired, you guys. So expired. I actually threw it out after this, but it's just like, it's stark white and it's such a good setting powder and I always use it for Halloween looks. Like that's the reason that I hold on to it. So I'm using this to essentially set my whole face, basically. I was pretty much just going to use this in like the lightest areas, but then I was like, nah, I'm just going to use it everywhere. And as I was using it, I was like, it doesn't smell amazing. And then I started to realize that I've had it for Lord knows how long. And so I was like, you know, yeah, this is the last time. This is the last time. But if you have a fresh one, it's a good powder. This is an incredible palette from Lunatic Cosmetics Labs, I think is what they're called. And this is actually another thing that I've had for way too long. But it's kind of expensive, but it's so fantastic for Halloween. Like all of those super gray tones, they're unbelievable for contouring. Like just unbelievable for any Halloween look. I think I've used it in like every single Halloween look every single year. Like, it's just incredible. And I basically use all of those like gray looks. I like to go into some of the reds, some of the like more terracotta-y colors. They are obviously like, they're a little bit more dead colored. They're not exactly, you know, going to be super flattering for skin tones, but that's kind of the point, is that like, if you're trying to be a zombie, if you're trying to look dead, if you're trying to be a witch, whatever it is, if it's Halloween, this is an incredible palette. Like, I just love it so much. And then they also have the stark like white powder, which I use at some point in this. I can't remember. It's coming up, but it's fantastic. I think it's like, it might be like $80, but if you're someone who really, really loves to do creative makeup, or if you're like a working makeup artist, and you have a lot of clients who like want Halloween makeup, it's definitely worth it. Like, absolutely worth it. I don't know what I would do without it, to be completely honest with you. I should probably replace it soon, because again, I think I've had it for like, geez, like 7 years or something. It doesn't smell weird yet, so that's good. But yeah, I don't know. Contouring the lips, contouring the nose, all of that stuff. I'm obviously using, again, the image as a reference. And this is actually, it's kind of nice because I was contouring using a powder, which I typically don't do. I was initially thinking that I would do kind of like similar to the way that I do my makeup, lay everything out in creams first. But I ended up powdering. This is what I'm talking about. These creative looks, they just happen. There is no thought. My hand just goes. You know what I mean? It's as if my hand and the finished look are just like one, and my brain doesn't know what the fuck is going on. Like, I swear, it's you know what I mean? So I'm just kind of going right now. Now I can't remember what I was saying. What was I saying? This is so ridiculous. My boyfriend is cooking steak right now and it smells so delicious. So excuse me for being extremely distracted. I don't remember what I was saying. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm doing. Like, look at what I'm doing. I'm just blending. I'm blending. Oh, I was talking about powder. So I'm blending powder over the set powder, which is nice. And I'm not being like, I think I say this pretty much every single time I do a Halloween tutorial, but it's like, I'm not being super precious with my application because, number one, I am following an illustration. So little marks, little like, I don't know, sketchy marks and stuff like that kind of just adds to that, you know? I'm obviously starting off with some of the larger like tones and colors before I go in and do any of those like sketchy marks as details, because, you know, you want to work with like your base colors and stuff first. But yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, it absolutely doesn't have to be perfect. And that's one of the best things about Halloween makeup, is that you can just like really make it messy and really play with it. If any of you have been following me on Instagram for a long time, this is how I started. So I started off using basically like the cheapest makeup from like NYX and e.l.f. to try and create like, I don't know, it wasn't special effects, I guess, but just like really creative, artistic type makeup, you know? And I loved Halloween. Halloween is what got me into makeup in the first place. So this is really fun. It feels like I'm going like back to my roots, basically. Yeah, and I love not, I mean, you can see like I'm going back to the image a lot, but I was taking artistic liberties. Like, it was definitely oh, now I'm using the stark white powder from the palette, which is fantastic. I don't know what I would do without that palette. Anyway, I'm taking a lot of artistic liberties while using a like the general vibe, essentially, of my reference. Yeah. I think I was listening to a podcast or watching some kind of a YouTube video, and I had the reference like small. So I think I was going back and forth with that. So uninteresting. Who cares, literally? It's Sunday. I hope you guys are having a good Sunday. I don't know. This is all over the place. But I felt like I couldn't start October without doing a Halloween look. So I was like, you know what? And then at first I was like, oh, maybe I'll do like a goth situation, like make it a little bit more wearable, but like extra a little bit. But that didn't end up happening. These KVD, she is no longer affiliated. The KVD gel, I don't know if they're like brow pomades or gel cream liners, but they have them in like every color. I have them in every color, and they are some of the best products, especially for Halloween. Like, absolutely fantastic. That's usually what I save them for. If I'm doing like a colorful brow, if I need it for like an eyeliner, if I need it for like detail work. And then once it dries down, it's like pretty legit. Like, it's not really going anywhere. So those are really good products. Just like if you, I don't know, maybe I'll do a video about like must-haves for Halloween, because I have a drawer that is just dedicated to all of my like artistic makeup looks, which are typically around Halloween. And man, I don't really switch them up that often. Like, sometimes I'll add something, but what's in that drawer is basically like, I need this, or it's not going to go well. I'm not gonna be able to do what I need to do. I was gonna, what's the word? Not laminate, glue down my brows, but then I forgot. And it wasn't until like literally this moment where I was like, ah, screw it, I'll just like draw them on. So this is where I'm starting to go in with the sketchy detailing, obviously. Again, I was using the image as reference. And there were like, so I had like some regrets about the way that I did the nose, but overall I'm pretty happy with like the way that it came out. This liner brush is from a set from Sigma. It was a collaboration that they did with Dream, makeup artist. And it's so good, but they do have one, I think they have one that's just like this. If not, REPHR has like a nice one. It's just that I know a lot of people have said that like the REPHR brushes, their handles aren't as long. So it can be a little bit, you have to hold it closer, basically. But it's a really good one. So if you have access to an eyeliner brush like this, and again, I'll try to link some of the best ones that I know of down below. So good for this, but also just like obviously liner in general. This is often what I use when I do like a soft powder liner on the outer corner of my eyes. It's really good. Sometimes I feel like, you know, the really, really long liner brushes, to be honest, I don't have as much experience with them. I actually have some that I bought recently, so I'm gonna mess around with those, especially with like, you know, like the water activated paints and stuff like that. If you find those a little too flimsy for whatever you're trying to achieve, if you feel like you don't have as much control, then a liner brush like this is a pretty good alternative. But there's like certain things you can't do with it, which is why I picked up those long ones recently. Yeah. These are fun to watch. I hope that they're fun for you guys to watch. Now we're just chatting. I mean, you can see what I'm doing, you know. I can't talk you through everything single step. There were a couple things that I kind of like, when I got to this point, I was like, there's some things that I wish I'd done a little bit differently, but I don't know. I feel like it ended up going pretty well. So you can see that I think I laid down that like cream gel, and now I'm going in and kind of blending it with that brush. So you do have time to work with those, which is really nice with those products. And then this is just a classic. I love this eyeliner, this one from Maybelline, the super skinny one. It's so black. It's so black. I can't remember. It's a Master Precise, I think. So I'm just using that in the inner and outer part. Again, obviously using the reference and then adding some little things here and there. The eyes were fun. I wasn't entirely sure if I wanted to like make it super glam or if I wanted to just keep it like looking like an illustration, and I decided to keep it looking like an illustration. This part, like the nose, my nose is already pretty crooked, and the way that I guess like the side that I decided to really shade kind of like intensified that. In the painting illustration, she has like a mole, and I had some breakouts, and I was like, well, I'll just pop it on a couple of my breakouts, which, you know, is nice. It's like a nice little Desi Perkins. I feel like that's where I first heard of her, or heard of that little trick, and I can never seem to get it right in real life, but it worked for this. And then I just curled my lashes, threw on the Give Beauty mascara because it doesn't like hold them up in a curl, but it gives them like really nice volume, and I kind of like angled them. And then for the lower ones, I did basically the very outer corner and the very inner corner. So I left that like right in the center. I left that completely blank because I went in with a highlight a little bit later on. The lips were ridiculous because her lips were so big in the illustration. And that's kind of like one of my favorite things about these Halloween looks, especially doing these illustrations. I've done a few of them, especially the Lucas David. I've done like a few of his, I think. I love over-annihilating my lips this much. But I wasn't like the biggest fan of the way that this one looked on me. I probably could have done it maybe a little bit bigger to like balance out the nose, but whatever, it doesn't matter. I think this is just a MAC liner. I can't remember what it's called, but it's not like specifically a lip liner. But it works well for this. I know that they have a black lip liner. I just, I don't have it for some stupid reason. And then Lisa Eldridge, dude, because like, I don't know if you noticed, I didn't really give you a good glimpse of my nails, but I've got the like Louboutin nails going on where it's like shiny black and then red on the bottom. So it all just kind of works. It all kind of clashes with that orangey background. I thought the background was going to look a little bit more red, but it, it didn't. But yeah, so I'm like blending that red. I blend that red with a brush so as not to disturb the applicator of the liquid lipstick. And now I'm just going in and doing some like finishing touches. I decided to set my brows with soap just so that like hairs weren't unruly. But you should probably do this first because it did kind of like move some of the cream gel around. But I don't know, you can't really tell. It's not like the biggest deal. And I was like having some regrets about my nose, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll just like build up. I'll build up a lot of a lot of contouring. And then the lip just looked way too shiny, so I'm setting with my Hindash, the black from the Hindash Beautopsy palette, which is just fantastic. I'm using like a little Sigma brush. And then I used the red, the like reddish orange color from that same palette, and put that in the center just to like kind of intensify. So just remember that like layering is an option. And then I just recently got like a Pura box with these NYX jumbo sticks. So I figured those would be really good for the highlights. There weren't like as many highlights, I think, in the illustration, but I was like, but like, come on, you know what I mean? That's my artistic, what's the word? Liberty. Yeah. And I kept like trying to build them up, and I was like, where else can I put these? So I put them on the eyes, which was really fun. That's like, this just like little shape, this little like trick where it's like a little bit darker on the outer and inner corner and then the light in the center is just like, it's just, I feel like it's flattering on basically everybody. Unless you think your eyes are too big to begin with. But I think it's cool. So this is the finished look, you guys. I wanted to show it to you like this first so you can see how it all kind of came together before we mess around with these freaking Kryolan like eye drops. That were so uncomfortable, to be completely honest with you. So I got these like eye blood from Kryolan. I'm gonna use the black ones. I got black and red. It was my first time using it. It was so uncomfortable. Like it's eye safe, so it's fine, but it feels so weird. I did not like it. I felt like I couldn't keep my eyes open, but like that looked sick, right? But I was truly suffering. I was like, this is so awful. But it looks dope. So you're gonna see these. That looks so fucking sick. I love it so much. What the fuck? It looks so sick. But yeah, it was really uncomfortable. I like immediately ran to the bathroom and I was like, okay, I need to take a shower and wash all this shit off. But yeah, how cool is that? I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know if you do something like this. If you do for like actual Halloween, I don't recommend putting the eye drops in because they were just like very uncomfortable, but maybe it's just me. I don't know. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and let me know what Halloween looks you want to see next. I will see you in the next one.